Yo, welcome back to the Treytd Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about if the season ended today, who would win, essentially the playoffs. So, it's just basically me giving my predictions on if the playoffs started today, who essentially would win in the Eastern Conference, and then who would in the Eastern and Western Conference, and then who would win in the finals, going up against each other. So I'm going to talk about the play-in. I'm going to talk about the actual playoffs. So I'm going to talk about everything right here. If the playoffs started today, who would win? So, as you may know, Embiid may play in the playoffs. Karl-Anthony Towns may play in the playoffs. But if the season ended today and the playoffs started today, as of March 20th, who would win? So I'm not including Embiid playing. I'm not including Karl-Anthony Towns playing. None of that. It's going to be who would win if the playoffs started today. So I'm going to start in the Eastern Conference. So now I'm going to go from the 9-10 to the 7-8, and then whoever loses the 7-8 against the winner of the 9-10, and then I'm going to go to the Western Conference, do that play-in, and then I'm going to do, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm going to figure it out. I think I'm going to just go 1-8, then 2-7, then 3-6, and then 4-5, and then I'm going to go to the other conference. But let's start off with the Bulls versus the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I don't know the season series. I can look that up right now. Chicago. I'm going to look that up right now. I would assume... I was based off of how we've been playing semi this year and how the Hawks have been playing. I would assume we're on top. I would assume we've won our games over them. I think I can. Okay, so we've won both games. We won both games. We won 136-128 February 12th, and then December 26th, we won 118-113. So, I mean, essentially based off of this, we would win. We would win the 9-10. Trae Young would not be playing as well because he's going to be out. So that leaves them with DeJounte Murray. It leaves them with damn, I can't think. Jalen Johnson, Clint Capella, Onyeka Okongwu. So it would just leave them with essentially the role players, except Jalen Johnson has come into his own. He's been playing really well. DeJounte Murray is an all-star guard, as you know, all defensive of guard that can give you buckets. But I know more about the Bulls than I do the Hawks because I watch the Bulls every night. Chicago Bulls. We got Alex Caruso, who's going to be playing. The only people that are going to be out is Zach LaVine and Patrick Williams. And I think we can last without LaVine and Patrick Williams, obviously more than they can last without Trae Young, because Trae Young is a 30-10 guy. He can win you a series, win you a game. Obviously, so can DeJounte Murray, but this is a one-and-done, essentially, playing game. So I'm going to take DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic, who's been playing solid, Drummond, who's been a beast, Caruso, who's been hitting his shots, Kobe White. I don't know, am I going to include Kobe White playing? Because Kobe White should be playing it within the next 2 games. I'm going to include Kobe White in this hypothetical playoff started today. Kobe White would be playing, and I don't see an answer for DeMar or Kobe White. I think Jalen Johnson would get what he wants. He's a 6'9", 6'10" forward who can shoot relatively well, who can drive to the basket, who can somewhat play make. Someone that I think who's going to be a beast within the next few years. So I would take the Bulls in this playing game, which essentially is going to happen because we're 4 games out of the 8th seed, and the Hawks are 4 games away from us and 8 games out of the 8th seed. So I believe if the 76ers can somewhat stay afloat, I think that we will be playing the Atlanta Hawks, and I think we would win that game. So the Miami Heat versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Honestly, I don't see the 76ers really having a chance against the Miami Heat team. Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero will not be playing, I don't think, because I don't know exactly how long he's going to be out. But in this start today play-in game, like if the play-in started today, Kobe White, I think he would play. I don't know the timetable, or I don't know how long Tyler Hero is going to be out for, but I don't think he'd be able to come back today. So I really would not give the 76ers much of a chance unless Tyrese Maxey decides to go for 50, which we have seen he's been able to do. But again, you got Jimmy Butler, you got playoff Jimmy Butler, you have Bam Adebayo, you got Terry Rozier, who just hit a nice clutch shot to win the game against the Cavs today. Doug Robinson has been playing well. Jaime Jaquez has been playing really well. So you got a nice deepish roster for the Miami Heat to go against the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think you really have an answer for Jimmy Butler, or you don't really have an answer for Bam Adebayo because you got Mo Bamba. He's not really going to stop him. Paul Reed, who's been solid backup, not really going to stop Bam Adebayo, and Bam Adebayo is just going to lock that up. And then you got, I guess, Jimmy Butler or Caleb Martin guarding Tyrese Maxey. Unless Tyrese Maxey can just hit every shot and go for 50, I don't see the 76ers winning this game. And then it gets tough because obviously the 76ers, better team with Joel Embiid, better team than the Chicago Bulls. They're four games ahead of us. But you put Alex Caruso, who is an all-defensive player this year, you put him on Tyrese Maxey. And with the way Kobe White's been playing solid defense, and then they don't really have a stopper to stop DeMar DeRozan or Kobe White on the offenses on the other side of the basketball, on the offensive side of the basketball. I might take the Bulls in this one too, even though the Bulls have. I don't like the way essentially we're playing. I'll take that back. I like the way we're playing. I don't like what the ownership and management is doing with this team. But I think I would take the Bulls in this matchup as well. Tyrese Maxey, again, he can go for 50 any given night. But with Caruso guarding him, with the way Torrey Craig's been playing defense, and then us just having a better all-around roster without them having Embiid, I just don't see much of a chance for the 76ers, which does suck. It does suck. Now, again, 76ers can win this game. I'm not saying that they can't, but essentially in this game, more likely than not, they'll lose because all they have is Tyrese Maxey. The Bulls got a couple weapons. Kobe White's coming to his own. Vucevic can go off any given night. DeMar DeRozan has been the clutch player of the year within the past month. So I'm going to give it to the Bulls. We're going to be the 8th seed going up against Boston. So now it gets crazy because the Rockets are on a 6-game win streak, and they are 2.5 games away from taking the 10th seed from the Golden State Warriors. Golden State Warriors essentially can miss the playoffs. But in this hypothetical situation where it is playoffs start today, play-in starts today, the Warriors versus the Lakers. Now, the last time they played, obviously Anthony Davis got hurt, and the Warriors won. Brown gave him 40. I don't know what the last matchup looked like, but I think I'm going to take the Warriors just because the Lakers are so inconsistent. Even with LeBron James and Anthony Davis being healthy, D'Angelo Russell giving them pretty good. He's been doing really well for them this year. I really don't see the Lakers winning this game against the Warriors. The Warriors have their struggles, have their worries, but I think in this one-game situation, Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or Wiggins or Kuminga can just go off and just win them a game. Because Kuminga is that guy. Obviously, the Lakers' size with Anthony Davis at the 5. And as you know, Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, Gabe Vincent, all reportedly out for the remainder of the year. That messes with their depth a lot. I'm going to take Steph Curry over LeBron James and Anthony Davis as of today. Now we got Phoenix versus Dallas. Now I think both of them essentially, not like in this hypothetical situation or in real life when the playoffs do come around, I think they both make the playoffs. There's no teams that can stop Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, and if you stop one, you're not stopping the other. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. can go off for 6, 7, maybe even 8 threes to win you a one-game situation or one playoff game. And then obviously you have the Phoenix Suns, which the last game that I saw them play minus today, Kevin Durant played 40-plus minutes, had 11 points. I don't like seeing that. It's just sitting in the corner, not in any of the actions, not in any of the plays, nothing like that. I didn't necessarily like that at all. But again, they got Kevin Durant, they got Devin Booker, they got Bradley Beal. The only thing I question with the Phoenix Suns is their depth, because you got Grayson Allen, who's playing amazing. You have Nurkic, who has been very well, who's been a very solid starting big man. You also have Drew Eubanks, who has been really good. You have Royce O'Neal. So I mean, you have some guys, but that depth, man. They just signed Isaiah Thomas a few days ago. He just played tonight. I forget who the Phoenix Suns literally just played. They played the 76ers, and they won because no Embiid. I think I'm going to take Dallas. I'm going to take Dallas in this one. I think Luka's just going to be too much, and I think Kyrie also will be a little bit too much. They have solid defense. The Mavericks have solid defenders. You got P.J. Washington. You got those two centers in Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford, who can rim protect, who can grab rebounds for you. Obviously, the Suns have Yusuf Nurkic, who can get you 20 to 30 rebounds. Get you 20. I'm not gonna say 30. He can get you 10, 15 to 20 rebounds a game. He can hit a couple shots. But essentially, I think Dallas is just a better overall team, especially with Dante Exum coming into his own. Jaden Hardy, who can get a bucket. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Dallas for that one. But then again, Warriors versus Phoenix. I think the last time they faced off, I think the Phoenix won. I'm gonna take Phoenix just because they're more consistent and they have a better structured roster than the Golden State Warriors at this moment. Because Klay Thompson been struggling, Chris Paul hasn't played, Draymond Green has his things, and they're extremely small. Yusuf Nurkic is gonna grab all those rebounds and he's gonna bully Draymond Green. I know Draymond Green had that punch on him, blah blah blah, but Yusuf Nurkic is gonna punk Draymond Green down low. So there you have it. It's gonna be OKC, Denver, Minnesota, Clippers, Pelicans, Sacramento, Dallas, Phoenix, just like you see it, or just like how it is. Then it's going to be Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland, New York, Orlando, Indiana, Miami, but Chicago will be that 8th seed. I'm going to start off 1-8, and I'm going to just say right now, 4-0 sweep Boston over Chicago. Even if it was Philly going up against them first round, I'm taking Boston in a 4-0 sweep. They just have too much defense. You can throw Drew Holiday or Derek White or Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum all on DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan isn't going to be able to do anything. You can throw either Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, or Kobe White, or DeMar DeRozan, and they're not going to really be able to do much. You have Porzingis to guard Vucevic. There's just nothing that we're going to be able to do. And even if it was the 76ers, say 76ers beat the Bulls, it is Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, all guarding Tyrese Maxey. They're going to double him every time. They're going to dare. Oh, Tobias Harris, you have to beat us. Buddy Hield, you have to beat us. Robert Covington, you have to beat us. Kenyon Martin Jr., you have to beat us. Mo Bamba, you have to beat us. Anyone but Tyrese Maxey. Anyone but the All-Star. So, either way, Boston was going to go to the second round because Philadelphia or Chicago or even Atlanta not beating the Celtics. Probably not even getting a game unless DeMar DeRozan can just get on fire and just hit all of his shots like he has been lately. Boston in 4 against Philadelphia or Chicago. Move on. Milwaukee versus Miami. Now, this is the toughest game. This is probably one of the toughest series because this has basically been a rivalry. Again, it's a 6-game sample. It's a 6-game difference between Miami and Milwaukee. I don't think that anything's really going to necessarily change unless Miami goes over Indiana. But I don't really see this year Miami beating Milwaukee. I don't see it. Just because the Milwaukee Bucks got Damian Lillard now. Obviously, their defense is taking a slump. But since they got Patrick Beverley in the office or the trade deadline. Defense has been up. Damian Lillard has somewhat gotten his confidence back. Like, yeah, I can still do this. And then you also got Giannis. Brook Lopez has been really good. Chris Middleton, I don't think he had a terrible game today, but it was against the Celtics, so I'm gonna take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. 22 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 8 of 11, 2 of 3 from 3. So Chris Middleton had a hell of a game. Damian Lillard also had a really good game, and they also got Bobby Portis off the bench, who honestly has been one of their better players this year. Grabbing rebounds, hitting threes, being really consistent with hitting his shots. So it'll be tough for Miami because you do have playoff Jimmy. You have Bam Adebayo. You got a Terry Rozier who can go off for a 30-point playoff game and win you a couple games. You also have Kevin Love who can kind of go off. Jaime Jaquez, who's been a really good rookie for y'all. But there's just nothing I think that Miami can do against the Milwaukee Bucks. With Giannis and Damian Lillard being able to run that high pick and roll, Damian Lillard can pull it from anywhere, or you give it to Giannis, and Giannis is dunking from anywhere as well. So I'm going to go Milwaukee advancing to the second round. So now it's going to be Cleveland versus Indiana. Based off of how Indiana has been playing as of recent, especially with Tyrese Maxey having his struggles, him and Siakam still trying to get that chemistry down. I'm going to go Cleveland. I'm going to say Donovan Mitchell plays. Evan Mobley will not be playing in this hypothetical playoffs. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen. I think it's just too much of a three-headed monster for Indiana to really deal with. Isaac Okoro has been playing great defense and hitting his shots. And then you got Max Strus. You got Sam Morrell. You got Georges Niang, who's been really good. You got a Craig Porter, just in case one of the other guys go down, or they get in foul trouble, or just not shooting well. So the Cavs, essentially, they have a really deep roster. They have a deep roster. They found some gems in Sam Morrell and Craig Porter. So I think Cleveland finally goes to the second round without LeBron James. Now, New York Knicks versus the Orlando Magic. Now, we don't know the timetable of OG. As of now, I want to say OG is going to play. If OG plays, I'm going to take New York just because you have a Jalen Brunson. You have an OG. You have a Dante DiVincenzo who has been hitting all of his shots. You got a Josh Hart who's playing 48 minutes with triple-doubles, doesn't get tired, can guard your best perimeter player, grabs rebounds, can play make, can hit timely shots if he needs to. Josh Hart has just been a beast. Josh Hart has just been a beast for the New York Knicks. He's the perfect Tom Thibodeau player. So, yeah, it's going to be the top 4 seeds, essentially. It's going to be Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland, New York. I don't know the last time that happened. Last year it definitely wasn't. The year before that, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. So, yeah, it's going to be the top 4 seeds. Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland, New York. That's where it's going to get tough. That is where it's going to get tough. All right, so the Western Conference. OKC versus Phoenix. Now, this conference is going to be the toughest conference for me to really predict and judge, because Phoenix can beat OKC, Dallas can beat Denver, essentially. Without Karl-Anthony Towns, the Sacramento Kings can beat Minnesota. Like, it's just so many ways that this can go. OKC can beat Phoenix. Like, there's just so many stinking ways this conference can go. I can say all the wrong. Like, every single team that advances can be wrong. Every single team could be right. Half of it, like, there's just so many ways. All right, let's start. Shea versus Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. Now, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has been All-NBA first team this year. He's going to be All-NBA first team, hitting all of his shots, being able to play make, being able to just play at his own pace. He's not rushed ever. Always running and playing at his own pace. You got a J-Dub who essentially plays like a Paul Pierce. Has the same type of jump shot, can get to his spots, hit his shots, can semi-play make. And then you got Chet Holmgren, who just rim protects, grabs rebounds, and hits threes, and essentially he can create his own shot. He's a 7'2", 7'1", 7'2", maybe even 7'3". He's a very, very skinny 5, but he can shoot, he can handle, he can play make, he can rebound, he can defend, he can block shots, he can do everything, and that's a problem because you can throw Chet Holmgren on Kevin Durant, and that's going to give Kevin Durant some problems. Now, do I think Kevin Durant's going to get locked up? No. No one's going to lock up Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's always going to get his 25 to 30 points per game. 25 to 30 points a game plus. No matter if he's getting guarded by prime Kawhi Leonard, if he's getting guarded by Pippen, Jordan, he's always going to get his buckets. But it will be tough on him if they do that. Do I think they're going to do that? No, because you need someone to guard Nurkic, because Nurkic is a 6'11", 7 foot, 250-pound monster. Now, do I think Nurkic can absolutely dominate? No, but he is a matchup problem essentially for some of these guys. And then I don't know if OKC has, if they have the experience and if they have the defenders to defend the Phoenix Suns. But again, I can say the same thing. Who's going to guard J-Dub? Who's going to guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Who's going to guard? And then you can throw Cason Wallace in the starting lineup, and he's going to lock up one of those. He's going to play defense on one of those guards, and he's a very, very, very solid defender. He can lock up, he can play make, and he can hit his shots. So this is going to be one of the toughest ones to judge, but I'm going to give it to OKC because they've been so good. Chet Holmgren has been top 2 rookie of the year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is top 3 in MVP right now. J-Dub is, if he wasn't such a high draft pick and he didn't have such good expectations, he's one of the more improved players in the NBA. That's what I'm going to say. One of the more improved players in the NBA. Just can hit his shot more consistently, more efficient, can get to his spots a lot better. He's playing solid defense as well, so I'm going to give it to OKC. And Phoenix, you got to figure something out. Got to either trade Bradley Beal or you got to get a bunch of players on minimums again. I don't know what you do there. You trade all those role players away for 3 super max players, and you get bounced in the first round. Denver versus Dallas. Now, again, I think this can be a very good toss-up. Do they have the defenders to guard Jokic? No, but I don't think Denver has the defenders to guard Luka and Kyrie. I don't think anyone has the defenders to guard Luka and Kyrie besides the Clippers, and even then, it's tough because you also have a P.J. Washington who can go off. You have a Tim Hardaway Jr. who can go off. A Dante Exum who has been playing phenomenal for them, like I said. Derrick Jones Jr. can hit you a couple threes, and you got to step up on him, and then you can't double Kyrie or Luke. There's just so many things. But then again, it's the Denver Nuggets. And then again, we just saw Dallas play the perfect game, and they beat the Nuggets. They beat the Nuggets with Kyrie Irving having one of the craziest game winners of all time, considering the fact that he is a right-handed player, and he shot a left-handed hook from a little bit inside the three-point line over a 7-foot Jokic when he is 6'2". So that's that. But all in all, I think there's not going to be a lot of teams that can beat Denver in a 7-game series, especially with Jokic's IQ, Jamal Murray being able to go off for 40-point triple-double in the playoffs, Michael Porter Jr. being able to go off for a 30-point game, Aaron Gordon being the lockdown defender, same with KCP. There's just not a lot of teams that are going to be able to defend the Nuggets. So I'm going to go Denver, and I'm gonna go Denver. So the 3-6 is going to be Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert versus De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Now again, the Minnesota Timberwolves essentially have defenders that can semi-guard De'Aaron Fox. You have Mike Conley, who's a good defender, but he's a little bit older, so you don't necessarily want him to guard the best guard and the fastest player in the league. Anthony Edwards versus De'Aaron Fox would be a sick matchup. And then you got Rudy Gobert versus Sabonis, which I'm pretty sure every time Sabonis has really played against Gobert, I'm pretty sure he's almost dominated. And then you don't have Karl Anthony Towns. So that is 25 points per game, 8, 9, maybe even 10 rebounds, a 40% three-point shooter, someone that can get you a bucket if you need one. It's just a lot Minnesota lost. Now, am I going to be mad if Minnesota loses this without Karl Anthony Towns? Absolutely not. You're losing an all-star, losing one of your franchise centerpieces. It's just tough because Sacramento they should be so much better than they are now. It's crazy. Sacramento should be better than 40-28, which is a 58% win percentage is amazing, but they should be better than that. You have a point guard in De'Aaron Fox. You have a center like Domantas Sabonis who can give you triple-doubles and double-doubles. You have a good second, third-year player in Keegan Murray. You have a good shooter in Kevin Huerter. You got a nice 3-and-D veteran in Harrison Barnes. You got a good backup. You got a good sixth man in Malik Monk. You have a good defensive point guard in Davion Mitchell. You have a decent wing in Trey Lyles off the bench. So I feel like there's almost no excuse for them to be like this. But again, this is about the pace that they were last year, and they were the 3 seed. That just shows how good the NBA gets every year, and it shows how good the West really is. I'm going to give it to Sacramento. Sacramento finally gets out of the first round since like 2005 or something like that, like the early 2000s. They finally get out of the first round against the Minnesota Timberwolves. De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis are just too much for Anthony Edwards and company. So I'm going to give it to Sacramento. Now, probably one of the best matchups we're going to see in the playoffs, the Clippers versus the Pelicans. Now, it can go one or two ways. It can go either no one can guard Zion, or Zion can't do much, and the Pelicans really cannot defend the Clippers. Because they have James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook will not be playing. And then for the Pelicans, you got Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, and Zion Williamson. Now you also you have one of the best perimeter defenders in the league in Herb Jones. You have Valanciunas, who him and Zubac are relatively the same as in ranking as centers, but I think Valanciunas can shoot the ball a lot better. Can't necessarily defend better. He can probably grab rebounds. They can probably grab rebounds about the same. I think it's just Valanciunas is not essentially as athletic as Zubac, but Zubac isn't much more athletic. And then Valanciunas can shoot. That's about the difference. Then you got Kawhi Leonard, who's the best player. I think Paul George would be the second best player in this series. And you got James Harden. It'd be Kawhi versus Zion. It'd be Brandon Ingram versus Paul George, and it would be James Harden versus CJ McCollum, which that matchup is insane. But again, in a 7-game series, with the Clippers having Ty Lue as their head coach, someone who's great at adjustments, came back from 3-1 in the finals against the 73-9 Warriors, someone that has a Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on their team, and a James Harden. I don't see the Pelicans winning this matchup, which sucks because it's Zion's first time in the playoffs. They're having such a good year. I do not see them beating the Clippers in a 7-game series, so I'm going to go with the Clippers. Now, it's going to be OKC versus the Clippers. It's going to be Denver versus Sacramento. And then on the Eastern Conference, it is Boston versus New York, and it's Milwaukee versus Cleveland. Oh, excuse me. So now, I'm going to start this off. If we were going based off of the actual playoffs and hopefully every team essentially being healthy, the Eastern Conference matchups would be sick. It would be Drew Holiday. It'd be Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis, Al Horford versus Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, OG, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Alec Burks, Miles McBride, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, Precious Achiuwa, Bojan Bogdanovic. That is such a good series because the Knicks are so deep and the Celtics are so top heavy. It would just be based off of coaching. And I'm not saying Joe Mazzulla is not a good coach, but I think Tom Thibodeau is essentially a better coach than Joe Mazzulla. Because, Joe Mazzulla got all those stars. He got essentially four All-Stars. And then someone that could be an All-Star, probably won't because he's not going to get the credit he deserves. And then you got a veteran in Al Horford. And then with the Knicks, they've dealt with so many injuries, and for them to still be 41-27 just shows the coaching, and it shows the absolute depth that they got. So if it was healthy, this would be a lot better of a series. But since Celtics are healthy, the Knicks are not. They don't have Julius Randle. They don't have Mitchell Robinson. Just the size. And it's going to be too much for Jalen Brunson. He's got to deal with Drew Holiday and Derek White. And then OG got to deal with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. I think it'll just be too much for the New York Knicks. But next year, if they're healthy, the Knicks can be a legit contender because of their depth and their talent up top. But I'm going to go with the Celtics. Based off of Julius Randle, don't have a timetable, and he's not going to be playing in this hypothetical. And then the Celtics just being healthy. Now, Milwaukee versus Cleveland. Again, I'm going to start it off. If they were healthy, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen versus Giannis and Brook Lopez would be a good matchup. Obviously, the Bucks have the better player in Giannis, but in the middle is Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and then the worst in that group would probably be Brook Lopez. Then you got Damian Lillard versus Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland, which, again, is just a very, very, very good matchup. Very good backcourt, very good front court. It would be Damian Lillard and Chris Middleton versus Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, which, like I said, would be a very, very, very good matchup. I would absolutely love that. Cavs picked up Marcus Morris. Now, if he was Marcus Morris of the Knicks or the first few years with the Clippers, that now the Cavs would be scary. And even then, I think the Cavs are also scary right now. They're missing Evan Mobley. They're still playing great basketball. J.B. Bickerstaff is such a good X's and O's coach, such a good adjuster in the middle of the game. Donovan Mitchell has been struggling a little bit, but he's been dealing with an injury. Darius Garland has been playing good basketball again. Isaac Okoro, like I said earlier, is shooting the ball really well, and he has been playing great defense. You got Max Strus, Georges Niang, who either can be on it or not. And then the Milwaukee Bucks. You got Damian Lillard, who, like I said before, got his confidence back. Giannis is just being Giannis. Brook Lopez, you have to deal with Jared Allen, but if Brook Lopez is in the corner or he's on the wing, Giannis has all that space to drive to the basket because there's no rim protector. There's absolutely no rim protector for the Cavs. So I'm gonna go with Milwaukee based off of that. So it's gonna be. All right, so Clippers versus who was it? Clippers versus OKC. Now, obviously, Clippers got more experience. They got the better perimeter defenders. Essentially, got the more deep roster than OKC. Obviously, as far as this season, OKC has the better player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But I think the experience of the Clippers, and I think them just having the guy that I would trust more in the playoffs as of right now, in Kawhi Leonard, I think takes OKC. And you put Paul George or Kawhi Leonard on Shai, and then you have the other one on J-Dub. There's not much other shot creating that you really have. No one else can really shot create like Shai or Jalen Williams on this OKC Thunder team. Josh Giddey, obviously, he can create shots he can play make for you, but the Clippers are gonna leave him open. They're gonna let him shoot. If he beats you in a game, then he beats you. But I'm not letting Shai or J-Dub beat me. So I think in this situation, I think the Clippers take this one just because Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, I feel like I trust them more than Shai and J-Dub at this moment. Now, Denver versus Sacramento is a very, 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 very interesting situation. Very, very interesting series, I should say. Because Denver, obviously, as I'm going to say throughout this video, as I would have said if I was talking about them the entire time, this is a team that I don't really see losing in a 7-game series against anyone in the league. Because Jokic is, it's just because of Jokic. That's literally the reason. It's because of Jokic. And then with Sacramento, when was? Let me see. I want to see the Nuggets versus Sacramento. Nuggets versus Kings, 2024 season series. I want to see how those played out. Denver, Sacramento. I want to say they may have one more game remaining. No, they played all of them, and let me see. Let me see. So, I don't know why it's so hard for me to figure out their season series. All right. Denver is 1-3. Yeah. The Nuggets are 1-3, I want to say, against the Kings. Let me see some of these matchups. Let me see. So the last time they played was February 28th. The Nuggets won this game. I'll turn my volume down so don't do anything. Sabonis had a stinker. Jokic had a 14-14 and 11 game. Jamal Murray went off. So De'Aaron Fox didn't play. And the Nuggets won. One was the other. Let me see the other games. 2-14. All right, let me go over there because I want to just reference these games. No, what the heck? What is going on? Why is this doing this? Uh, 2024. Oh, I went to 212. Duh. Nuggets lost by 4 points. De'Aaron Fox had 38 and 8. Sabonis had 20, 13 and 7. Harrison Barnes had 20. And then Jokic did not have a good game, 6 of 17. Michael Porter Jr. didn't necessarily have a good game either, shot 8 of 17. Aaron Gordon had a really good game, and Jamal Murray did not play. Neither did KCP. So just the last 2 games, De'Aaron Fox didn't play their very last game, and then Jamal Murray and KCP did not play in the other game, and that one was close. So it just shows how good the Nuggets can be, even without Jamal Murray. They were a 6th seed. They obviously got swept by the Warriors last time Jamal Murray didn't play, and then he comes back the year after, and they win the championship. That just shows the effect of Jokic and Jamal Murray. But I think I feel like it would come down to De'Aaron Fox and Jamal Murray. It will come down to who performs better, De'Aaron Fox or Jamal Murray. Do I think De'Aaron Fox is better than Jamal Murray at this moment? Yes, I think De'Aaron Fox is better than Jamal Murray. But Sabonis and Jokic, they're not going to necessarily cancel each other out. But Sabonis is a good enough defender, big enough body, and someone that can grab rebounds and play make. Just like Jokic, not as good, but essentially they can cancel each other out. And then I want to say Jamal Murray and De'Aaron Fox could damn near cancel each other out. They'd probably cancel each other out better than Jokic and Sabonis. Does it then come down to Michael Porter Jr. and Keegan Murray? Who hits more shots? I just want to say it just comes down to who hits more shots at that point. Because Harrison Barnes, can shoot. Kevin Huerter, can shoot. Keegan Murray can shoot. KCP can shoot. Michael Porter Jr. can shoot. I feel like it just comes down to who shoots the ball better. But also, I do think because Jokic is Jokic, I just think that the Nuggets just win just based off of Jokic. Obviously, I think the Nuggets do hit more shots because Jokic just gives them open shots. But I also do think the Nuggets just have the better all-around team. If it wasn't for, I'm not saying Harrison Barnes is a bad player. If it wasn't for them having Harrison Barnes, then I think that it would be a better matchup. if they had Harrison Barnes, let's say, off the bench, then I think it would be good because they'd have a better player at the 3. So now it is going to be the conference finals. We're in the conference finals in this hypothetical situation. It is Boston versus Milwaukee, and it is Denver versus the Clippers. Now, again, Boston and Milwaukee has been teams that have played each other in the playoffs multiple times throughout the years. Boston has come on top more likely than I think they've come out on top every time that they've played. I know 2018 they did, 2019 the Bucks did win because I know they lost to the Raptors in the conference finals. 2020 they didn't play, 2021 they didn't play, 2022 the Celtics last year they did not play. Okay. So I think it's 2-1 Boston because I know in 2017 or 2018 or both. Did they play both? I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure Boston is ahead just by 1. But again, they just played today too, and Boston won by 3. And they didn't have Giannis. Oh, but the Bucks did not, or the Celtics did not have Drew Holiday. So that's the other thing. But again, I just think the Celtics is too much. You got Derek White and Drew Holiday to defend Damian Lillard. You have Jason Tatum, Porzingis, or Al Horford to guard Giannis. I just think the Celtics win this matchup. Because they're also way better defensively. The Celtics team is so good defensively. They can almost switch everything. They can every player like Derek White, Drew Holiday can guard essentially 1 through 4. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum can guard 1 through 5, damn near. And then Porzingis just an elite rim protector and he's 7'3" and has long arms that can block shots and grab rebounds. That's all you really need for the Celtics team. I'm going Celtics, man. Celtics are going to the finals again. They lost in 2022. They're going to the finals for me, bro. They're going to the finals. They're beating Milwaukee. It's going to be a 6-7 game series. It all comes down to Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Damian Lillard and Giannis. And I think I would trust Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown more than a Giannis and a Damian Lillard at the end of the day. Also, probably comes down to the role players. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Porzingis are just better than Chris Middleton, Malik Beasley, and Brook Lopez. So I'm going to go Denver versus the Clippers. Now this is a lot of pressure on the Clippers. This is a lot of pressure on the Clippers because they've been together since the bubble. They've made 1 conference finals. They lost in the second round. So they've been to every place but the finals. First year, they lost in the semifinals against the Nuggets. They lost in the conference finals the year after that to the Suns. They missed the playoffs, and then last year they lost in the first round to the Phoenix Suns because Kawhi Leonard and because Paul George didn't play at all and Kawhi Leonard missed the last two or three games with another injury. So this team has had a tiny bit of history behind them, but the addition of James Harden, them having Norman Powell, them having 2 solid backup bigs in Daniel Tyson, Mason Plumlee, and then you got Zubac, so you got 3 guys you could just throw at Jokic. There's no wings that can defend James Harden, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. You have 2 guys. Jamal Murray's not the best defender. Michael Porter Jr. is definitely not the best defender. So you have to throw Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. on one of those guys. And then, that's what you got to do. I'm trying to think of a different way that the Nuggets can really play defense because you got Jokic on Zubac. You'll probably put Aaron Gordon on either Paul George or Kawhi, and same with KCP. You'll put one of those 2 on him, and then you got Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. Either one of them got to guard James Harden, or one of them got to sit in the corner on Terrence Mann. And if you put Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray on James Harden, I think James Harden is the key factor to this series. I'm going to do it. Clippers beat the Nuggets in 7 in Denver on an amazing performance by Paul George. Paul George struggled in the playoffs recently, besides the time that they went to the conference finals, the bubble. They struggled with OKC. He struggled with Indiana. He was a monster. They go to the finals against the Celtics. I think this is where the Clippers fall because the Celtics are just too good. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I would say Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Kawhi Leonard, man. This is tough because these are Celtics, because you got Jrue Holiday and Derek White that can guard James Harden, and then you got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum to go against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, I think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are better defenders, but man, this is tough. You also got Porzingis, you got Al Horford off the bench. Like this is tough, bro. This is tough. I think Paul George is better than Jaylen Brown. I want to say Kawhi Leonard is not as good as Jason Tatum no more, just because of the injuries. Nah, you know what? No, yeah. So the Celtics are just a better all-around team. They're just a better team. Jason Tatum could have a mid-game and they can still win because they got Jaylen Brown, Jrue Holiday, and Porzingis. They still got all that. Jrue Holiday and Derek White, they're gonna lock up James Harden. I'm sorry. Jaylen Brown, it's just gonna come down to between Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And as of right now, I'm gonna take Jason Tatum over both of them. So Celtics win the finals. So, yeah, that's basically this video. There's really nothing else to really talk about. March Madness is going on, so I'm semi-watching those games while also watching NBA games. I guess I do have a couple videos in mind talking about some of these bottom feeder teams. I do got some video ideas just talking about some of these teams. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this podcast. If you enjoy, I think this is episode 4 of this new podcast I started. Please like, comment, subscribe, and peace.